Welcome back to the FlairBar.com show, Tales of the Cocktail 2010 in New Orleans. If you haven't noticed already, an old friend of FlairBar.com, we met last year, Mr. Simon Ford. Simon, how you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right.
Welcome back to the show. We met you last year, Tales of the Cocktail. We're back again this year. Ann and Paul, thank you guys so much. Phenomenal show as usual. It just gets bigger and better.
Yeah.
But what are your overall thoughts compared to last year's Tales to this year's Tales?
This year is obviously, for me, a lot slicker. They've got it together. They found their momentum. They now know how to, just watching those apprentices, phenomenal. I mean, just the systems down in the kitchen, the way the ticketing was handled, all of that. I think all the mistakes from past years had sort of led to making a perfect Tales of the Cocktail this year, one that was really well organized.
I agree. Organization is huge. And again, Plymouth Gin, bartender's breakfast, best party last year, best party this year, and not only that, you had a great picture up there as well.
I hate that picture of myself.
I love
and
that
it
picture.
It was the one thing that I didn't approve at that party. They went to someone else and I did the trick. And I was like, if I was, next year I'm gonna have to approve my own picture. I don't want someone to put it. I didn't like that picture, but that's okay. I gave it to John Lemaire. He's gonna put it up in the Florida room.
Did you sign it at least?
Not at that level yet.
So what were your thoughts of the bartender breakfast this year?
Yeah, I really liked it. I wish the lead singer of the band hadn't been reprimanded by the cops. That would have, because they killed it last year. That was they were brilliant. But in general, I was really happy with the bottled cocktails that Contemporary Cocktails had badged and put together. Recipes from Gary Regan, Julie Reiner, Dave Wanders, Del de Groff, and putting them in those bottles with Jill de Groff's signatures were great. We also had a Contemporary Cocktails one in there, and then one that Kenter had invented at the Pay You Club, Monk's Punch. So there was that I really liked that. Evan Freeman had done some edible cocktails, so he made these Plymouth Slow Gin gummy.
Oh, we didn't know those were his.
Yeah,
Nice.
Evan Freeman did that, so that was pretty cool. And then Richie and Giuseppe killing it, doing the frozen Ramos Gin Fizzes
One of my favorite drinks here in New Orleans.
So it was a genius to think that, and they caught out 300 pineapples to get that out. And everyone there was a superstar. You had Audrey and Kenter from the Pay You Club. You had Jim Meehan behind the bar with Jackson Cannon, and they were loving their company. They just were so happy. And then we did that bar that was this year, instead of batch cocktails for big parties. But the guy said, no, we want to bartend. And they said we had the most fun, 10 different cocktails, every classic gin cocktail. And, Duchan. It was Jason Brand's idea to do that. He goes, I want to bartend. I want a batch cocktail. I want to bartend. And so I chose the fastest bartenders, some of the fastest bartenders I know, stuck them behind that bar, and they killed it.
They rocked. It was the best energy in the club. I mean, that to me was my favorite bar. Now, let me ask you, speaking of recipes, just happen to have the bartender's breakfast here, and this was just the menu here. This thing is huge, but back in the day, a cocktail by Simon Ford. Are you trying to date yourself? Back in the day, what's
It
the
is
story
exactly
behind
back
that?
in the day. I mean, the idea there, if you see it say breakfast cocktails, so we serve those in a orange juice dispenser and a coffee dispensers and whatever. So we wanted a drink that kind of looked like coffee and one that looked like orange juice, which is one of my least favorite ingredients to work with in cocktails is orange juice. So, but that recipe, it was when I was at a bar called Cobra in Brighton, and I want to say it was about 2001. Or maybe even 2000 when I came out with that recipe, and I was having an uninspired day, so I just looked through my old lists of cocktails created and just put it back. So that's really where that one comes from.
Perfect.
That's why I called it back in the day, because I couldn't remember what I called it originally.
I was going to say, because back in the day it wasn't that long ago for you. You're
No.
not that old. I mean, if not, you hide it well.
I'm feeling like I'm one of the oldest for this show right now.
And brightest, and speaking of which, Nat, now in last year, 2009, you won an award for Best USA Brand Ambassador for Plymouth Gin. And what does it take to be a successful brand ambassador?
For me, the biggest thing is actually having some belief by the people that employ you, and giving you the power to do the things that bartenders like. For me, it's always about the bartender, and often big companies think one step ahead. They always think about the consumer and never sort of consider that middle ground. So for me, my company really give me all the tools to do bartender engagement, throw good parties, put on good education, and those are the things that are important to the industry. So that's what I think makes it the support in being able to do that. Because if we were all given the power to do that, think about it, we'd all throw parties for bartenders, and we'd all want to, geek out and educate. So I get the opportunity to do that, you know, and obviously I'm not the only brand ambassador. There's literally hundreds of us now.
But you stand out for a reason, though. You know what you're doing. You keep it fun, fresh, and exciting, and you're very engaging. You got a very charismatic way about you, where I just want to instantly walk up to you and give you a hug.
Yay.
And drink some Plymouth Gin while doing it. And speaking of which, tell us about Plymouth Gin. I believe the website is plymouthgin.com?
PlymouthGin.com, yep. I mean, Plymouth obviously is the brand that put me in America. It's also the brand I have the most love for, because I've been working for as a brand for so long, when there was just 4 of us in a team, you know, and then, you know, to it now being in 8 different countries around the globe, you know, probably a few more now, and actually from seeing it sell 0 cases in the US to now selling 25,000 cases. So it's still a niche brand and small, but it's 25,000 cases that are being bought by people that love it, as opposed to being pushed out there, you know, very organic growth.
Good stuff. So now that's Plymouth Gin. What is this new stuff we have here?
I love it. I mean, if I was always into, you know, if gin is obviously my wife, then tequila's always been my mistress. And,
Nice.
and now I get to work on a tequila, you know, instead of having to drink everybody else's. So it's great. Now you know, now I can expense tequila. But it's a great brand too. Bartenders worked with it. What makes it unique is that the master distiller, Jesus, when it's from the Los Altos, the highlands of tequila, so it's got that agave flavor. They worked with 2 bartenders on the liquid, Henry Besson and Dre Masso, who are legends in London, and who love tequila. They've written a book on tequila. They own a bar called Green and Red. They're both, you know, Dre was from the Lab Bar back in the day, and Henry Besson's opened some of the most important bars in London. So those guys went out for their love of tequila, met Jesus, and worked on this liquid, and what they wanted to achieve, essentially, I said, Henry, what were you trying to do? He goes, I wanted the character of agave so that you could sip it. I wanted the character, you know, I wanted it to be mixable in cocktails. I'm a bartender, and I wanted it to be cheap so I can put it in the well. And so, you know, they would make Tezon before, which is 100% Tahona, quite expensive because of the process. This is just part Tahona wheel tequila, but so it brings the price down, and it's, well, I think it's going to be about $25. So, you know, you can stick it in the well.
It looks beautiful. And now we have this, and this is Absolute's an old friend and favorite of ours, but what is Absolute Brooklyn all about?
Oh, this is great. Spike Lee collaborated on this. It's apple and ginger flavor.
Did you get to talk to him, hang out with him?
I did get to
Oh,
meet him, man, yeah. Yeah, it's cool. We did a few parties with him, actually. Yeah, made him a few cocktails one evening. And the guy brings all of his friends to the party, so we were packed with like hip hop stars and movie stars. He's a brilliant man. I mean, in his creative direction, this is actually the house he lived in Brooklyn. So it's very cool, and it's very cool to be able to embody the character of a city, which is what Absolute's now doing. I think it's one of the most fun and clever things they've done in a while.
Awesome. Now, speaking of Absolute, Absolute is a huge sponsor of the show, the FlairBar.com show, and everything we do in our bartending competitions, from Bartender's Bash to Summer Flair and Mixology Matters. And you know what? From what I hear, you got a little passion for flair yourself.
Yep, never been any good at it, but I've always liked it because it makes watching bartending so much fun. And you know, to watch someone like Nicholas St. John do his thing, I mean, it's sick. One of the best things I ever saw at an award show was in one of the London Bar Awards, when I think it was the world #1 human beatboxer was basically with the world, I think Nicholas was world #1 at the time, and he literally did the beat, and he was like, and he was like throwing the bottles to the beat, and they'd obviously rehearsed it, and all of a sudden he kicked into, the beatboxer kicked into Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, and he started moonwalking, throwing the bottles. It was so cool. So to be able to bring that kind of entertainment to bartending, but you know, I love working flair as well. You know, just like everybody just doing that cool little flick, you know, whatever it is, style. It's what it is. It's style.
I agree. And working flair, I think, is what's going to take to help break down the wall between everybody, and not just the exhibition everyone's used to, this, that, juggling, but it's the working flair that's going to bring the key together. But what I want to see, I'm going to go in the FlairBar.com safe here. And if I remember right, Graham told me the code was 360, if I remember right. Somebody's popped that in. And we actually have a present here for you. A shirt from Bartender's Bash Series with Absolute as one of the sponsors.
Oh, fantastic. I didn't make it. When is it this year?
It was just in May and June. But the next one coming up is September 19th and 21st in West Palm Beach, Florida. It's actually Mixology Matters in Summer Flair. So I'd love to have you come down this year, or maybe Chris Patino, I think Rudy said, and do a seminar. But also, I have a Flair Flair bottle for me. And if you could just do a stall on camera, that would be awesome.
I'll try. Let's see if I get it right with the hangover.
Oh, first time after the bartender's breakfast. Simon Ford, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Appreciate everything. You know what? You're doing so good. I can't have you leave. Do you mind coming back after the break and making a drink for us?
Sure.
Go.
Sounds
We'll
good.
be back right after this.
Cool.